Hello, my name is Joshua Keith, and this is theburningcoal.com, a website dedicated to God's glory, His grace, and our response to it. Today we're going to talk about being thankful for God's mercy. Now, if you'll remember, on Monday we talked about in Matthew 5:7, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy." We see here this concept that Jesus talks about over and over again in the New Testament, that we need to be merciful. Why? Because of the great mercy that we have received. In just another chapter in the same Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is going to talk about in prayer how we are asking God to forgive us our debts as we forgive others. And so we see that our understanding of mercy is that we're going to share it with other people because it's been so powerful for us that we can't help but pass that on because of the thankfulness that we have for mercy. Think again about Peter and Jesus talking about forgiveness, and Peter asks, "How often should I forgive my brother?" And he thinks he's being very supportive of his brother by saying 7 times. And Jesus says, no, not just 7 times, 7 times 70. And then he talks about the amount of debt that we owe to the king in a parable compared to what others owe us. And so we see that the mercy that God has given us is so much greater than the mercy that we show others. And yet, sometimes we may lose sight of the fact of how valuable that mercy is and how hard it must be for God to do that sometimes. And so it's good for us to take a moment and to think about how thankful we should be for God's mercy. Think about for a second when you're offended by somebody. Think about how when you're driving home after a long day of work and all of a sudden some stranger just cuts off your car, they treat you with disrespect, and all of a sudden you're just angry. How dare they do that? They jeopardized my safety. They wronged me. They showed no respect for the fact that I was the one waiting in line and they didn't. And we get really upset at the stranger who we don't know, who we have no relationship with, but they just showed us such disregard that we're upset at what they've done. How much worse is it then whenever it's somebody who we've actually had a relationship with, we've had history with, and we've spent time building this relationship, we know them, we love them. We've invested our time, our heart, our energy, sometimes even our money into them. And then all of a sudden, they offend us. How angry does that make us? Well, we might feel that we are rightly justified in feeling that anger. But we need to understand then how much more angry God would be, considering that God created us, that God made us in His image, that He gave us all of these wonderful blessings. He created the world for us. And then what did we do? He has been there for us since we were in our mother's womb. And yet, we then betray Him. When we have such a relationship with somebody, when we've invested so much into somebody, then the betrayal hurts all the more. And God feels the exact same way. And so we need to understand how much we hurt God and how much He had to overcome to forgive us. But not only was He willing to look at that and say, well, maybe if they come back and try to make it right, I will allow this relationship to be restored. But God showed us so much mercy in the fact that He was willing to seek us out, that He wanted to find a way to fix the situation. He sent His Son to die, not just at any time, but in the fullness of time, so that we might really truly understand what that sacrifice meant, that we might understand the true nature of sin. He sent His prophets, He sent His apostles, so that we would know what had happened and what we could do to fix the situation. God sought after us because He wanted to restore the relationship. He didn't just say, well, if they come to me, then maybe I'll work to make it right. Instead, He sought after us. And then he forgave us. And not just a little bit of forgiveness, not a begrudging forgiveness where the next time there's a fight, we're going to bring it back up. No, he forgave us so fully that he not only wants to spend time with us now, he has created a place for us to spend with him for all eternity. And so we can be encouraged by the fact that God loved us so much, that he showed us such great mercy. And we should never forget to be thankful for that great love. I hope this lesson blesses you in your walk in his kingdom.